die. Go too fast. I'm taking 3.
I'm going for the St. Louis now.
Oh no!
Son of a bitch.
You get your 2?
Yeah. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we are going to take a look at playing offensively. So a few days ago I did put up a video about playing defensively, and today I wanted to go ahead and get a video up that shows some offensive play, how you can go about doing it, and things to watch out for while you're doing it. There's going to be 2 clips today. The first clip here we're looking at is me and my Fuso. I'm on North, and I'm teamed up today with Linwolf and GameGoon. This is a recording I did before I actually started showing the team sides on either side of the screen, like, you know, the ships they have. So that's why that's not there. So anyway, we are on North. I'm in my Fuso, Linwolf is in his Sims, and GameGoon is in his Cleveland. So the plan initially here was I was going to meet up with GameGoon. GameGoon was going to you know, give me some AA cover that I might need, and we were going to try and stick together throughout the battle here. Little did we know, Linwolf had some completely different ideas here. You can see him off in the distance. He's charging right through the channel over there, and as soon as GameGoon and I see this, we start to move in and start to try and support him. As you can see, at this time I'm still kind of making up my mind. Do I want to go help out Linwolf, or am I going to stay with GameGoon in the original plan here? No big surprise. I don't stick with the original plan. I do move in to provide you know, the armor and the muscle behind the offensive push here. So what's going to happen, and what I want to illustrate when you are going on the offensive like this, is you do need to keep a number of things in mind when going on the offensive, and it's kind of the opposite when you're on the defensive. So when you're on the defensive, you know, you're watching the team, the members of the team that are pushing through on the offensive. You're watching to see how they're doing, sort of adapting and adjusting from there. Maybe sending ships off from the defense to go to the offense if they have that flexibility, like a cruiser would be preferable. You could even send out a destroyer because they're fast enough to get there, and I mean the torpedoes are going to do a crap ton of damage. When you're on the offense, it is opposite to that. So instead of watching what the people on the offense are doing, like you would do if you're playing defense, now you're going to be watching what the defense is doing. I take the offensive strategy a little different than the defensive, so it's not completely opposite. So when I'm on the offensive and I see that my defending side is crumbling, they don't have a chance of making it or defending, and you know, all hope is lost. At that point I try to take a look to see what enemies have made it through the defensive line. So if the defense was a good defense, hopefully there won't be too many enemies breaking through, and if that is the case, I'll continue with my offensive maneuvers. Whereas if the defense has crumbled and the enemy has a whole bunch of ships coming through, depending on the ship I'm in, obviously if I'm in a battleship like this, I'm not going to be moving, but if I'm in a cruiser or destroyer, I go back and help the defense. So we're coming into battle here. Enemies are popping up. Linwolf is almost dead. His whole charge in there didn't go very well at all. But by the end of the video, you're going to see here, Linwolf does play quite a critical role. So I took out the Atlanta, got the first blood on it. It could have went either way, either myself, Linwolf, or GameGoon would have got that. It just so happened that my shots got in there in time, because the Atlanta didn't have a whole lot of health anyway. So we do have some destroyers around. You can see him there. We're going to need to do something about this guy. I'm not in a good position to do it because I am in a battleship. He's fairly close to me, but I'm hoping that GameGoon or Linwolf will deal with him while I take out some of the cruisers in the background, like that Atlanta I just took a shot off at. Now GameGoon has taken quite a few hits here. He's you know, he still is on fire. His health is rapidly going away, and unfortunately he's not going to survive. Although my hat is off to GameGoon, because he's the reason why Linwolf survived, and ultimately at the end you'll see Linwolf's contribution to this and what it leads to. So, Game Goon really did take one for the team there. Worked out really, really well. So now it's just Linwolf and I left. I continue to put shots into that cruiser, the Atlanta over there. Atlantas are really, really easy to kill when you have armor piercing loaded with high caliber guns. You can just, hit the citadels on that thing and just blow it right out of the water without really any effort at all. The hardest part is lining up the shot, obviously. You gotta be careful though, you can over penetrate and then your shells don't do a whole lot of damage, but for the most part, high caliber armor piercing shells is the way to go with an Atlanta. You'll just destroy them, much like you would take out Omahas and Phoenixes in those lower tiers with armor piercing. They're basically a floating citadel, so you can get a number of citadel shots. I actually have a battle here where in my Cleveland I got 10 citadel shots in one battle, and it was because I was shooting at Omahas and Phoenixes. So we can see our Atlanta friend pop up again. I'm lining up my shot, I'm taking my time to make sure that my shots land right on the waterline, midships. You can see them going in there, blam, 2 citadel shots, devastating strike, he's gone. And, that wasn't bad at all. So very good on that. Now that was the biggest sort of threat we had before we could move into their base. As you can see now, we're kind of regrouping on our side here. On the west side of the map, the enemy is holding up the defense there, and that defense is going very well. They still have a number of ships remaining, the enemies have lost some ships, and you can see the distance between them is starting to increase ever so slightly while they try to move some of their ships down to maybe flank our defending ships, but it's not going to work. So now that on our side, all the enemies that were, pretty close to us or trying to defend their cap, now that they're all dead, there were those Atlantas, the 2 Atlantas, and the Destroyer. Now the Destroyer is dead. I'm not exactly sure who killed him. It could have been Game Goon, Linwolf, or one of the other allies we have with us on the push. But the main point is he's gone. So we're coming closer into the cap. Now, I'm the only battleship in this push to take the cap. When I'm in a battleship, I might play it differently than other battleship players. I mean, keep in mind, I'm not a dedicated battleship player, so really when I take out my battleships, it's just I just want to have fun. They're big ships with massive guns, and I just want to do a bunch of damage, right? Probably like most people anyway. But when I'm in my battleship, in this situation, when I get into the cap, I want the enemy to be shooting at me. I don't want them to be trying to take out the softer, squishier targets around me. If they can shoot at me, I can take the damage, and the remainder of my allies in the cap can continue to cap and gain the points. Now Linwolf was feeling a little different, I guess, maybe today. So you can see he's kind of leeching onto my ship here. What he was doing was he was on such low health, he thought that if he rammed me, I could kill him, and then I would get, a team kill. So it didn't work. Thank God. Really don't like killing team members. So he's pulling away, and now he's actually giving me smokes now. So becoming useful once again. But getting back to the actual strategy here of doing the cap is, like I say, I want these enemy ships here in front of me. I want them to shoot at me. I don't want them to shoot at my allies around me. They're the ones who are capping, getting the points. It's not what I'm sort of looking to do. I'm looking to absorb the shots here. So as soon and as quick as I can, I start putting shots downrange into these guys. Sort of like, hey, look, I'm a big battleship. I'm right here. I'm capping your base. Why not shoot me? Hoping that my allies around me are, aren't visible at this time. At the very least, I know with the distances involved that Linwolf is not visible. And that is the major contribution that Game Goon did here. At the beginning of the battle, when Game Goon died and saved Linwolf, it meant that Linwolf was able to live and come into the cap and win it for us. Yes, we are going to win this battle. If it wasn't for Gamegoon doing that, Linwolf would have died, and then things would have ended up differently. You know, you can only imagine if we had myself and a Cleveland here in cap. Well, most likely with the distances involved here, we would both be visible, so the enemies would be able to shoot at us both, and we wouldn't be able to gain the cap points to win the battle. With Linwolf here, in his sims, he's not visible. They look at him. They don't know where he is, what he's doing. As far as they're concerned, I imagine what they can see is they can see me and maybe a few of the cruisers that are with me, because you can see we did just lose some cap points there. So obviously they're shooting at something else, but it's not Linwolf. That's the biggest thing here. So when you are on the offense, now obviously, you know, you're not going to be able to plan things out like this, and we didn't plan this out. This just sort of happens. But when these situations arise like this, you want to be able to recognize it and take advantage of it. You want to be able to, when you get into that cap, the enemy cap, and you're in a situation where the enemies are going to start shooting at you, and they're trying to defend it as best they can, take a look at the ships that are with you and what ship you are in. If you find yourself in a battleship and you have a destroyer friend helping you, great. Try to take all the shots for that destroyer friend and keep the enemies you know, at least 8 kilometers away, so they're not going to see the destroyer who's with you. And then your destroyer friend can cap the base while you're taking all the shots and engaging. It doesn't matter if you die, because you're actively taking shots, so you most likely don't even have any cap points on you. So whether or not you die isn't the issue here. What you're trying to do is to delay the enemy long enough, to keep them distracted long enough so that they don't actually hit the person or the ship who has all of those cap points. And that's what I'm trying to do here. You can see I'm staying right on the edge of the cap zone, trying to be the closest target to the enemies. That's how I'm positioning myself right now. So that I want those 3 guys to shoot at me, leaving the other allies in the cap relatively untouched. And it's working out pretty well. You can see my health is going down, I'm taking the shots. I am getting a bit of cap points here. You can see when I get hit the cap points go down, but it's nothing, right? Linwolf has all the cap points at this time, so it doesn't bother me at all. Now we are getting closer to capping their base and getting the victory here on the map. I'm pretty low health, you can see it. You know, maybe 1 or 2 more salvos from these guys and I'm gonna die. There I go, gone. But again, doesn't matter. We're still capping. Linwolf is still there, taking the cap points, and we've won. It was a great battle, and it really shows, or it gives you an idea of some of the things to keep an eye out for when you are on this offensive push. You know, what ship are you in? Who are you guys with? And then how you're going to position yourself in cap. You know, whether or not you're going to be taking all the shots, or if it's someone else. You know, things to keep in mind. So moving into the next clip here for today, this was a battle I did last night actually. I am with Mouth 1313, so Mouth, he and I were playing last night. I decided to go on my cruiser, my Cleveland, and we are on fault line. Now Mouth is in his New Mexico in this battle, and you can see where we started out that I'm quite a distance away here from Mouth. So normally I would make my way over to him, group up, and you know, together we'd push from there. But this was my first battle last night after a bit of a break, and I really just wanted to come out and you know, kick some ass. So rather than do my normal strategy of meeting up with my teammate and then pushing on with their, I decided, you know, what the hell, I'm gonna be really aggressive in this game. Now in this version of Fault Line here, there are no points to cap. It's just 2 separate bases, so it's almost like you know, a team deathmatch scenario, except, you know, there is the base there to capture as well. So my original plan here is to go right into the center of the map, see how the enemy is positioning itself, and take off you know, any health from the ships that are passing by, any opportunities that I can exploit. So that's what I'm looking for, but at the same time wanting to wanting to have a good battle here. I'm not willing to take too much of a risk and die too much. Yet, anyway. We'll see more of that as the video progresses. Now, I do have some enemy ships popping up here in front of me. They're outside of my range, and I'm not detected yet, so not really concerned about these guys. But you do see at this point that, surprise, surprise, they've got some battleships moving over into the west side of the map, or where the A point usually is. So this is something that I do often as well. I'll cruise right for this open spot in between these two islands on the west side like this, but I don't go into the middle at this point. I'll turn sharply, come behind these islands, use them as cover so I break that contact. Now if there weren't planes in the air, they wouldn't see me right now, but there's planes, but they can still see me. Well, that's alright. And so I come around this island, and it's here between these two islands that I'm going to push into the center. The reason for this is not only do I have cover making my turn into the center like this, but you can see right in front of me that large mountain also provides me cover from any of the enemy ships who are trying to stray from the background. So that's always nice. And then there is that little island in the middle where the B point normally is that you can use for cover as well. It's not as big and obviously not as great as cover, but it's still something you can use. So I continue to put shots into these enemies, and then I've got this Phoenix here that pops up in front of me. So he's really close. He just killed an ally. I can't let this guy continue on. He's got to go. I have armor piercing loaded because it is a Phoenix, and or rather I'm loading armor piercing now, so it is a Phoenix and I want those Citadel shots. There he goes, he's gone, so that's great. I queue up my high explosive once again, and I shoot off what I've got for armor piercing off of that New York. Not too bad. So my middle push here, learning information about the enemy and their whereabouts, is paying off. You can see at this time, Mouth is fairly close to me, so we're actually going to be meeting up here at soon enough. I'm not actually going to be leaving the middle at this time, though. I know it looks like it is. This is just a little bit of a trick to the enemy. I don't know if they fell for it or anything like that, but I thought I'd try it. And it seemed to work, so doing all right. Now, because I'm in the Cleveland and I've got really good turn speed, I've got excellent guns on the ship. The ship overall is just amazing. If you don't have a Cleveland, get yourself a Cleveland as soon as possible. So I'm taking shots off at any enemies that may pop up. So we see the cruiser over here. Gonna take some shots off at him. I've met up with another friend here of mine. You can see on the mini-map, Mouth is coming in right behind me, so that's great. My biggest threat right now that I can see is the Cleveland. We caught a glimpse of him a little while ago, but that's the biggest threat that I'm going to have to face at this time anyway. I'm kind of making another move into the A point, but again, I'm not going to actually go into that point, just circling around, kind of controlling this area that I'm sailing in right now. So I'm still scanning around, taking a look at what enemy ships are nearby, and there. We can see the Cleveland. We caught another glimpse of him there. He's coming into the center to try and do something about me and my little strategy here out of holding the middle of the map. So there he is. I'm going to start putting shots into him. It is high explosive that I'm firing. With the Clevelands, everyone says that it's really hard to get a Citadel shot in the Cleveland, and I would agree if I was in a ship that had smaller caliber guns, like 5 inches like my Cleveland here. In my Japanese cruisers, especially where I've got 8-inch guns, I don't find getting Citadel shots on Clevelands as hard at all. Do it all the time, but some people do struggle with it, so I can understand where people are saying that Clevelands are overpowered, but yeah, to each their own, I suppose. For me, it's more about what ship you're in and how you're using it is going to determine who's overpowered or not. But anyway, it's neither here or there. So still exchanging shots with the Cleveland here. See, he's using the center island as cover, but so am I. He's not able to return shots at me because he's too close to the island. His shots will just go into it. I can't shoot return shots at him because he's too close to the island, and my shots will just hit the island. Now the Cleveland just took a massive hit there, and he's about to go down. So I put some final rounds into him, and there he goes. He's gone. So that's great. That was the biggest threat that I had to face here in the center, trying to hold this, and now it's gone. Thanks to the team as well. You can see I didn't take him out, and I didn't do a whole lot of damage to him. Kept him busy, and the team took it from there. Now I've got this enemy cruiser in front of me. I don't know what this guy was doing. I don't think he beached himself. I mean, maybe he did and I didn't see it, but he's going in reverse, so whatever, I guess. Put some shots into him. There's Mouth. Mouth has met up with me. He's in the center now with me as well, so together he and I are going to try and control this area here. For now anyway, taking out as many enemy ships as we possibly can before the final push into their base. So we have some more enemy battleships. Now these are the same battleships we saw originally. That's the same Fuso. In the background you can see the New York. So we got to take him out. I've got an allied cruiser right up there in his face. Hopefully that guy is going to be able to take him out. But he's on such low health right now. Keep putting into the shots, keep putting the shots into him, keep setting him on fire. He does take out our cruiser ally. Yeah, not such a big deal. I still have Mouth with me, and yeah, he's, we're still firing into the Fuso here to still try and to kill him. Now we can see that our base is currently being capped. It's that destroyer up there. Can't have this. We can't have that take place. So I'm going to move in here and try to do something about this. Mouth is still behind me, still engaging those battleships there, but you can see he is going to be turning around to help me out. I suppose though that this is where typing in chat really comes into play. I wasn't typing it at all, so I guess Mouth didn't know what I was doing. He had to watch me and sort of follow along, but it still worked out really well. Now I'm on fairly low health at this time. You can see that enemy cruiser is pushing up, sort of abandoning the middle right now because our base is being capped. I don't want to lose this match to some lucky destroyer who got in here and capped out our base. So that's what I'm going to be doing right now. I'm flexible enough to go back and do it. I've got a battleship supporting me, so feeling pretty good. And plus the battleship supporting me is Mouth, so I've played with him a number of times, confident in his abilities. So we're going to go in here and do something. The destroyer did leave the cap. You can see I have some allies there with me as well. It's 2 battleships versus 1 destroyer, so I still wasn't ready to say, alright, they got this and move along. Because battleships, unless the destroyer is within your secondary firing range, battleships have a hard time to take out destroyers. And you can see, I mean, that destroyer there just basically killed that one battleship. I mean, he very lucky that he didn't die in that one shot, but he's just holding on now. So I've got the destroyer in my sights, put some shots into him, and with the team we take him down. So that's great. So our cap is defended. I'm going to be turning back around, and now we're going to start pushing into the enemy cap. At least that's the plan. So once I'm doing this, I can see Mouth. He's on low health. He's in a bad way, taking shots. So I really want to get in here, and I want to try and keep him alive. I was trying so hard. I had my AA guns are shooting out the planes. I just can't do it. They got him. So I'm sorry I wasn't able to do more in that situation. Mouth did die, but the team is still going on here. Speaking about the team, you can see that my team is down 2 ships at this time. So things aren't looking on the up and up. It's still fairly close, so I wouldn't say, hands down we've lost, let's just stop trying. But it's going to be a lot more difficult here on in. This enemy cruiser, I don't know what his plan was. Again, he's got a bunch of flags on, so we're gonna take him out. there's there's just no way around it. He's got to go. Again, not because he has a bunch of flags. Two reasons this time. He's in my face, near the cap, and he's got those flags, so I want to take him down. So I guess that's three reasons, really. But he's going down. No chance of this guy surviving. I am on extremely low health, though. I can't keep taking shots like this. I've got both these enemy cruisers putting shots into me rather. I'm trying to dodge shots like a madman here, and then I do end up taking him out. Catch on fire, put the fire out. I've got 158 hit points left. It was so close at that time. You can see Mouth there types in chat 158, but it's just not looking good right now. But still holding on, not giving up. Gonna continue the offensive push here. We're down to just a few ships. We're still at that 5-7. We have 5 ships left. They have 7 mark. So I'm trying to find an ally here that I can meet up with and hopefully help me push into their cap. That's my plan. In the meantime, taking out the planes that are around me, trying to put distance now between myself and the enemy. Not feeling so aggressive anymore with the 158 hit points that I have left. So I don't want to take too many chances here. And just die, and if I die, the team's going to lose it. It's not because I've died, it's because we have so few ships left that I just think it's going to put the enemy team at such an advantage that we're not going to be able to do anything. So we're doing the we'll call it strategic defensive offense. Nah, that doesn't make any sense. Whatever, we'll call it what it is. Me just trying to stay alive here and cap the base. With the hit points I have left, with the allies I have left, we're not going to be able to kill all the enemies and take that victory, so I have to play it safe, take out who I can, when I can, and cap the base. So I did a bit of a turnaround there. Keep in mind, just because your ship goes at full speed doesn't mean you always have to be at full speed. If you want to make a sharp turn like that, just cut the throttle, do the turn, and then throttle up again. Fairly simple. I do see people stopping in mid-battle, just stopping and taking shots off. I don't necessarily recommend that. I do see battleship drivers do it a lot, and where I'm not, as I mentioned earlier, a dedicated battleship driver, I don't know if that's a viable strategy. My thinking is that if you stop, you're dead in the water, easy target to hit, so I try never to stop unless I get beached, and then I start cursing. But anyway, we have another enemy ship here. He's going to try to make a push into our cap. We can't let this happen. The video is about playing offensively, the video today, but it's important to know when to go on the offensive. You can see I don't think we're in a good position right now to actually go on the offensive, so I am staying near the base and trying to defend it. We've got a few allies. I think I have 2, maybe 1 ally here in the base who's also defending as well. It's a battleship, and we've got that other enemy battleship coming up here as well. So once he's gone, I'm then going to push into the enemy base, but I'm not going to do it until he's gone. I know he's on low health, and I have a battleship here with me, and I know the battleship will probably one-shot him, but I don't want to take those chances, not at this time in the battle, and there we go. My ally did get him, everything's looking good, so alright. So now I need to start thinking about moving into their base and capping it. Time is running out. We're even now in the ships because we got that battleship, but I'm on such low health with the 158 hit points that I have that you could almost say, I'm dead, more or less. You could say it, I suppose. If you did, it would be a mistake. You'd be grossly underestimating me, but whatever, I suppose. Looking at the time left on the clock there, it's not looking good, right? we don't have a whole lot of time left, and you know, we're typing in chat saying, you know, let's go cap. Um, Trying to coordinate the efforts here at this time with the team, because the time is so low that we have to do something now if we want to have any chance at all at winning, without getting a draw. So that's what we're going to try and do. There's that full health battleship over there, and Melt is saying, you know, we probably don't have the time to cap. So I was thinking right now, Melt is right, we might have to try and kill all these guys. I just saw that full health battleship. Oh, I don't think it's gonna work. So I turn back towards the cap. I have an ally there in the cap already, so I was thinking with 2 people in the cap, we might have enough time to get this capped and win the battle. Might not. You know, it can go either way there. Now keep in mind, Wargaming did put out some information on capping, and the fastest the cap will go is when there's 2 ships in cap. If you have 3 or more ships in cap, that doesn't matter. You're still going to cap the same speed as if you had 2. So try and keep that in mind as well. Although it is nice to have more than 2 ships in the cap, because then the enemy's scrambling to figure out who has all the cap points and who to fire at. So battle's coming really, really close to an end. It's that New York came out. I really didn't want to die by that guy. So I'm putting shots into him, but again, I'm still turning, maneuvering, trying to avoid any returning fire that he has in store for me. Time is getting really, really short here. New York beaches himself. So great, I can put some shots into him, do whatever damage I possibly can before the battle ends. It doesn't look like we're actually going to be able to cap. I'm not sure on how long it takes 1 ship to cap a point and how long it takes 2 ships to cap a point. I don't know those numbers off the top of my head here, but I can tell you that if you've got a minute left in the battle, you're not going to do it. You don't have enough time. You got to kill all the enemies. So I did get a surprise Confederate there right at the end, so that was nice. Not too bad at all. I mean, you knew it was coming anyway, right? The amount of different ships I was shooting at and the damage I was doing, but nice to see it. But there's no time left. We're not going to win, and the battle does end in a draw. So that was sort of a disappointment, but I still wanted to put this battle up for you guys to see, because it does show some really good offensive maneuvers that you can do, some offensive strategies you can use when you're in game, when the situations arise. Keep in mind, like I spoke about in my defense video about being fluid on the battlefield, you don't want to just go into the battle with one mindset of doing something. You got to take advantage of situations as they arrive. It's really, really important. Important to keep in mind, important to do, because if I would have just stayed in the center the whole time during this battle, things I think would have turned out differently for me, even though I survived with 158 hit points. So it was a draw. I still did fairly decently overall. Not too bad at all, and I think at the end of this battle I actually did have enough credits to buy my Fubuki. So that's great. I have it in my port now. Did the maiden voyage in the Fubuki, forgot to record it. Whatever though, I think I lasted 3 minutes in that video on the maiden voyage before they got me, and it was a torpedo bomber squadron that got me. So we'll get some Fubuki footage up here shortly anyway. So thanks so much for sticking around, watching the video. I hope there were some good takeaways for you guys here, and you know, as always, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.